Hey everyone, welcome to episode 82 of Thomas and the Bible. We're on the Bible, chapter 82. No, I wish that's how it worked. I wish that were how it worked. Oh, would that it were how that worked. Before we get started, any real fans, any actual, listeners who I respect, who are on the Facebook should know. That's the key if you're on the Facebook. You should know I got my new project. Oh, my hair's all messed up. I'm on video. Got my new project called Two for Flinching. That's the name of the podcast, and it's on iTunes. You can search Two for Flinching. The Facebook is oh shit, what is the Facebook? Hold on, I'll look it up. It's facebook.com/Two for Flinching. No, I think I had to use some numbers or crap. So let me find that actual right now. As I'm delaying, I'm buying some time. How you doing? It's slash. Oh, the number's 24. So it's like /24 flinching instead of the letters. That's what it's. So facebook.com/24 flinching. I'm on Twitter for that project. And that's twitter.com. No, that's at WW24Flinching, which there's a joke behind that, but you'll have to listen to the show to really get it. But we have one shorter episode and our first real episode out now, so 2 episodes really. And it's a lot of fun. I like it a lot. It's a little different from This Podcast. Still got me, so it's not that much different, but it's a little different, but I love it. It's really fun. I can't wait to record tomorrow. So that's coming out on Wednesdays. I think this is going to be mostly Tuesdays. Should be Tuesdays, maybe Mondays sometimes, but I think I'm on a roll. Don't look now, but I think I've done like four episodes in a row without missing time, maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. I don't want to jinx it. We'll just say I've done a lot. And so check that out, please. It's a good show. I like it a lot. Please like it on Facebook, give it reviews, all that stuff. So thank you to a couple viewers I got here. As always, you can, for those of you who don't know, I'm not sure how many people are actually caught up to me now. I'm sure this is the 82nd episode. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are trying to start back from the beginning. Because I've got quite a few listeners now, but not many viewers. So I'm sure it's a factor. It's a function of it being at a certain time, no one actually wanting to watch it, which I totally understand. But anyway, you can always go back. You don't have to watch it live. You can always go back and check it out later. But if you do watch it live, then you can chat, and I can kind of participate. You can participate. I can participate in my own show. And then if you hear some annoying kids outside who are playing, that's because there are some annoying kids outside who are playing. So if you're wondering what that is, that's that. I'm not playing like fake sounds of annoying kids playing. That's real, actual annoying kids playing outside. So they're not my kids. I don't have kids. If I did, I don't even know that I could do this podcast because they'd probably be annoying. Kids are incredibly annoying. Like I love your kids. Don't get me wrong. I love you. Your kids are awesome. But other people's kids who aren't yours, pretty annoying. But, that's how it goes. I look forward to someday having annoying kids. We'll figure it out. Anyway, I don't know why I'm telling you that. Let's see. We're on Kings 19. 1 Kings 19. We're almost going to finish 1 Kings, but not quite. Unfortunately, we're not quite there. Next reading. And this Kings has continued to disappoint. Last episode, we were introduced to a character, Elijah, who was almost interesting, sort of. He hasn't really. I don't know. We'll see. This episode, this reading, as usual, it's the Bible, so it's So I should really stop even talking about it. I should stop even addressing the poor quality of the reading. So let's go. 1 Kings 19. And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and withal how he had slain all the prophets with a sword. So, to refresh your memory, Elijah slew all the worshippers of Baal with a sword, with one sword. No, I don't know. I don't know how many swords it was. Could have been 3 or 4, 3.5, 400. But yeah, so Elijah, he did that thing where he like challenged the other people who followed Baal to a fire contest. Like whoever had the real God, their bull would light on fire or something. And anyway, he won that contest. Long story short, Elijah won that contest. So now this is something I really struggle with. I have to read this 40 times, and I realized. Remember the other day I was telling you guys how I can't remember names when I need to, and I also am just really bad with names. Like even people I talk to every day I just am terrible at it. I realized that I don't pay attention to names when I'm reading something. I'm wondering, does everybody do that? Like I just read the sentence, and Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done. The first time I read it, the names are blanks. Like I don't even look at it. I think I just try to figure out what's going on based on everything else in the sentence. Is everyone like that or just me? I don't know if maybe my weakness with names is like, systemic. Goes through my whole, like how I read things. I just don't care. But then I realized like I don't know what's going on, so I have to go check like, okay, who's Ahab? Ahab is some a-hole. Ahab is a-hole. That's it. There we go. There's a mnemonic device. Ahab's an a-hole. I think he's in charge of Israel right now. But it's like the bad Israel, like it's like dark Israel. And Jezebel's, Jezebel. That's an easy one. Good mnemonic to remember who Jezebel is. She's a Jezebel. That's a good. It's very, very good one. And she's his wife, and Elijah's the good guy. So we got all those names. Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, So let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. So she's saying, like, all those guys you killed, I'm going to make you that killed. I'm going to make you as killed as those guys that you did that to. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life, and came to Beersheba, which belongeth to Judah, and left his servant there. So now we can kind of get into the more precise definition of a Jezebel, because he's afraid of her. He's like, ugh, and he runs. But he himself, so it goes to show you Jezebel is not just a whore. Jezebel is a sinister person. He's like really scared of this girl, this woman. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a juniper tree, and requested for himself that he might die, and said, It is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. So I don't really get this, because he's running away from Jezebel to not die. And then he sits under a tree and says, just kill me. Lord, just kill me. Like, hey, I got an easier way for that. Just don't run. Save yourself from some jogging. You're going to die anyway. Why, exercise is sort of a long-term thing. It's not really fun in the short term, It's not something you want to be doing unnecessarily. So he runs away for his life, and then he says, just kill me. And then, okay, because he says he's the worst prophet. He's like, I'm the worst prophet yet. Prophets are down. Look, I'm going to resign as prophet. Prophets are down. Anyway, and as he lay and slept under a juniper tree, behold, then an angel touched him. Starting a long tradition of touching people inappropriately in the church. An angel touched him and said unto him, Arise and eat. It's getting really creepy. And he looked, and behold, there was a cake bacon. I love that. Bacon, like baked. Not like B-A-C-O-N. There wasn't a bacon cake. That would be really delicious, though. Bacon on the coals, and a cruse of water at his head. And he did eat and drink, and laid him down again. The angel of the Lord came again the second time, and touched him. So, man, 7th graders would have such a fun time. Yeah. So high schoolers. He came again. He touched him. I say that, but I'm kind of laughing just as much. Anyway. I'm just aware of how stupid it is. I still find it funny. Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee. And he arose and did eat and drink, and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights into Horeb, the mount of God. And he came thither unto a cave, and lodged there. And behold, he had to kill a version of Darth Vader who turned out to be himself. He cracked the mask of Darth Vader, and it was him. It was Elijah. That's who it was. And then he came out and he's like, I don't understand what that meant, Yoda. Like, what I know is probably bad because you seem disappointed, but what is, I killed Darth Vader. Was I not supposed to do that? What? I don't understand. Isn't that the weirdest part of anything? Well, not if that's a little too general, but for a movie that's remarkably simple and not, Star Wars is, it's pretty straightforward. That scene with the cave, my favorite, the cave. I can't do Yoda. That scene with the cave is the weirdest thing. He goes in, so he's like, your weapons, you will not need them. And then, so he takes them anyway. So I guess that's a failure. I don't know why all these people, all these times, like martial arts movies or things where there's clearly an expert who's just the freaking expert. Like Yoda. If anyone's an expert, it's Yoda. I know this is what you come to the Bible for. Yoda talk. I know that's what. This reading's so boring. I'm trying to spice it up a little bit. Anyway, if there's anyone you should listen to, it's freaking Yoda. And yet, they never listen to their sensei. They're always like, well, I got this, And then they make a mistake and they're, become humble. They're very humbled by it. And they're like, you were right. Now I'll listen to you. I feel like if it were me, I'd just skip that part. I'd just be like, oh, don't bring my weapon? Okay. All right, you're Yoda. I'm not Yoda. There's a reason you're Yoda and I'm not. And it's not just because you're 2.5 foot tall and shriveled and a puppet and all that. It's also, I'm sure you had to also have other qualifications to get to the position of Yoda. Anyway, so Elijah, after going through this and killing Darth Vader, who was actually himself with a lightsaber, he said, I have been very jealous for the Lord God of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thine altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword, with the lightsaber. Not just any sword. And I, even I only, am left, and seek my life to take it away. And he said, Go forth and stand upon the mount before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind rent the mountains. That was just the Lord farting, obviously. He can rent mountains with his gas. And break in pieces the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind, and after the wind, an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. I don't really get this part. I've read it several times. I still don't get it, but we'll see. Maybe we can work it out together. And after the earthquake, a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. And it was so, when Elijah heard it, that he wrapped his face in his mantle, and went out and stood in the entering in the cave. And behold, there came a voice unto him, and said, What doest thou here, Elijah? That probably is not going to sound good in the video because I'm specifically, catering toward this mic. But so he goes in the cave and he hears. Freaking lightsabers, so awesome. Star Wars is as dumb as it is freaking awesome. That's all I can say. And he said, and I'm talking about the 3 Star Wars movies. That's all I'm talking about. I've been very jealous for the Lord God of hosts because, so all that stuff, so I don't know what the earthquake and the fire, I don't know if that's all just to prove that he exists, he's just showing Elijah how great he is, so he does this earthquake, this fire, this wind, well, it's actually the introduction to Avatar. Earth, wind, I don't know, I haven't seen Avatar in 100 years, but fire, I mean Avatar is in the show, not the stupid movie that I will never see. This was the dumbest looking. I just lost hundreds of listeners. That movie looks so stupid. I'm never going to watch it. Anyway. But yeah, so he does a little Avatar introduction here. And then Elijah's like, okay, so you done with all that? Can I just talk to you now? And God's like, yeah, just, I like to show off sometimes. Ooh, did you see that mountain over there? I totally crushed it. Elijah's like, yeah, okay, I saw the mountain. Anyway, I need some info from you, Lord. And let's see, what did he say? I'm left. So Elijah's apologizing. He's like, look, I'm just a terrible prophet. Everybody's gone every which way, and I can't do anything about it. So go ahead and kill me. Just take that lightsaber, and just. And the Lord said to him, Go, return on thy way to the wilderness of Damascus, And when thou comest, anoint Hazael to be king over Syria. And Jehu the son of Nimshi shalt thou anoint to be king over Israel. And Elisha, which is spelled Elisha, which I don't know, could that be Elisha? I don't know. It's too close to Elijah. Oh, Elisha. Let's call the whole thing up. The son of Shaphat of Abel Mahola. Getting Hawaiian on me now. AbelmeholaH. I'd like to have the word meh in my name. That'd be kind of fun. That would, the very middle of his name, the actual symmetrical middle of his name is meh. Meh. Shalt thou anoint, or meh for short, shalt thou anoint to be prophet in thy room. And it shall come to pass that him that escapeth the sword of Hazael shall Jehu slay, and him that escapeth from the sword of Jehu shall Elisha slay. Yet excuse me. Yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, all the knees which have not bowed unto Baal, and every mouth which hath not kissed him. But unfortunately, they're not the same people. So like there's some people people with no lips, and then some lipped people with no knees. So that sucks. But he but true to his word, all the knees which have not bowed, and all the mouths which have not kissed. So he departed thence, and found Elisha the son of, which is a guy, Shaphat. There wouldn't be a woman in the Bible. Kidding me? A woman in the Bible? No. The son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen before him, and he with the 12th. And Elijah passed by him, and cast his mantle upon him. And he left the oxen, and ran after Elijah, and said, Let me, I pray thee, kiss my father and my mother, and then I will follow thee. And he said unto him, Go back again, for what have I done to thee? So he walks by this Elisha fellow, and the Elisha guy's like, I gotta follow that guy, for some reason. Maybe divinely inspired, of course, as usual. And then Elijah's like, what are you talking about? And he returned back from him, and took a yoke of oxen, and slew them, and boiled their flesh with the instruments of the oxen, and gave unto the people, and they did eat. Then he arose, and went after Elijah, and ministered unto him. Oh, man, sorry. Ministered unto him. I'm on a new site. Oh, this is going to be fun. Hold on a sec. I'm on a new site. I'm going to try something. It looks like I can play the audio. Let's do this.
1 Kings 20.
Oh, let's just do
And Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, gathered all his host together. And there were 32 kings with him,
Yes.
and horses and chariots, and he went up and besieged Samaria, and warred against it. And he sent messengers to Ahab.
This is awesome. I wonder if this is a guy, when they did this, this is cool. So anyway, I could repeat what he said, but I said, Syria hosts together 32 kings. So Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, went up and besieged Samaria. But anyway, what if I could just do this? It'd be kind of funny. I don't know. It's not very loud. I'm not sure if you can hear it, so I'm not going to actually do it. But also, I wonder if that guy can't really be British, right? He's probably like, whoever's commissioning him is like, hey, so this is the King James version, right? So it should be British. And he's like, oh, yes, quite. I can do that. And he sent messengers to Ahab, king of, let's see.
King of Israel, into the city, and said unto him, Thus saith Ben-Hadad, Thy silver and thy gold is mine. Thy wives also and thy children, even the goodliest, are mine. And the king of Israel answered it.
98% sure that guy doesn't really have a British accent. Mine. Thy wives also. It sounds like me, because I can't do a British. It sounds like that. Thy wives also and thy children, even the goodliest are mine. I wish it'd be cool if he could do like a. I'm having that name thing again. What's his name? Michael Caine. Oh yes, I defeated it. Me one name thing a billion. Whenever someone says me one whatever 0 or something like that, they're never taking into account the past score. Because I don't know, it could be lifetime, right? And me one, like honestly, the name thing, I could have said me one name thing 0, but no, it's like me one name thing as many as you can count to. Anyway, thy Silva. I wish I could do a good Michael Caine for you guys, but But that would be fun. If Michael Caine read this, I would play that instead of me. And then we would listen to that. But I'd have a hard time concentrating because I just love Michael Caine. Just be like, I'd actually start liking the Bible. Be like, maybe I have this book all wrong. It's not so bad after all. Okay, so hopefully you have any idea what's going on. So there's a war, and so someone's trying to fight Ahab, who's an a-hole, if we remember. Ahab's an a-hole. I don't actually know that he is, but that's my mnemonic, so that's what he's going to be. What if you're... Oh, I'm going to have to write down this idea, because this is a good one. No, it's not. I shouldn't lead with that. What if your mnemonic devices, you just made it into whatever it was? Like, Ahab's an a-hole. Like, he's not actually an a-hole, but you just, like, that becomes that because that's your mnemonic device. That's how you remember things. I'd think of another example, but I can't, so never mind. So forget that idea. Thy silver and thy gold is mine, thy wives also and thy children, even the goodliest are mine. No. After tea. And the king of Israel answered and said, My lord, O king, according to thy saying, I am thine and all that I have. The messengers came again and said, Thus speaketh Benhadad, saying, Although I have sent unto thee, saying, Thou shalt deliver me thy silver and thy gold and thy wives and thy children, yet I will send my servants unto thee tomorrow about this time, and they shall search thine house and the houses of thy servants. And it shall be that whatsoever is pleasant in thine eyes, they shall put in their hand and take away. Then the king of Israel called all the elders of the land and said, Mark, I pray you, and see how this man seeketh mischief. For he sent unto me for my wives and my children and for my silver and my gold, and I denied him not. And all the elders and all the people said unto him, Hearken not unto him, nor consent. Is this guy the dumbest king in the history of... Maybe Ahab, see, I've already decided he's an asshole, he's an a-hole, because that's his name. But maybe he's really just incredibly dumb. Because, so someone calls up Ahab on the Egyptian telephone, on the Syrian telephone. They have a really long, piece of yarn that goes, and they haven't then invented plastic cups yet, unfortunately. So I don't know how they had telephone technology back then. But he says, "Hey, you don't know me. I'm just Ben-Hadad. I already forget. I'm Ben-Hadad. Why don't you go ahead and round up your wives, your children, any valuables you have, your PlayStation 2, any games that come, the controllers too, if you don't mind. I mean, you're not gonna need them if you're on, if you don't have PlayStation. Yeah, just give me all that." And then Ahab, the a-hole, is like, "Okay, cool, no problem. See you then. Bye." And then he goes over to his elders and he's like, "Yeah, I got some king on the phone. He said he wanted everything." And I said, "Yeah, whatever. That's fine, right? Is that what I should do?" And the elders are like, "Oh my God, this idiot, this a-hole. I don't know who this guy is, but the elders are like, no, I don't think we should just give him everything." Elders are like, you're the king and all, but I think maybe not giving another king everything in the kingdom is a good idea. Just for nothing, just for asking. So that was kind of funny. So then he goes like, "Hey, yeah." And he goes to the messengers of Ben-Hadad. "Tell my lord the king, all that thou didst send for to thy servant at the first I will do, but this thing I may not do." Or I don't know. Anyway. And the messengers departed, and brought him word again. And Ben-Hadad sent unto him, and said, "The gods do so unto me, and more also, if the dust of Samaria shall suffice for handfuls, for all the people that follow me." And the king of Israel answered and said, "Tell him, let him not that girdeth on his harness boast himself as he that putteth it off." And the guy's like, "You want me to tell him that? That's not a very good insult. I don't really..." "Oh, I think I get it, but you want to punch it up a little bit? Because I think he's just he'll be confused, and he'll be like, is he insulting me?" And then I'll be like, "Yeah, I guess. That's pretty lame, I know." And they'll be like, "Well, okay. Just give us, involve his mom or something, if you're going to really insult the man." And it came to pass, when Ben-Hadad heard this message, as he was drinking, he went, he spit out milk all over himself. No, and the kings in the pavilions that had said unto his servants, set yourselves in array. And they set themselves in array against the city. And behold, there came a prophet unto Ahab, king of Israel, saying, thus saith the Lord, hast thou seen all this great multitude? Behold, I will deliver it into thine hand this day, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. And Ahab said, by whom? And he said, thus saith the Lord, even by the young men of the princes of the provinces. And they said, who shall order the battle? And he answered, thou. This freaking Ahab doesn't even know how to receive a miracle. God comes down, tells him, hey, I got this. Just go fight him. You'll win. Go fight, win. And he's like, well, how? He's like, just whatever. Just fight. I'm God. You'll win. Just set the princes. Just some. It's like, well, we don't have a lot of big army. Yeah, well, just anyone. It doesn't matter. Just go. Somebody go fight. I'll make sure you win. Well, who's going to coordinate everything? Dude, I'm God. Would you just go fight? Just go. Just walk out in a clown suit with the little thing on your lapel that sprays people or whatever. Just do that. It doesn't matter. I'll turn it into fire or something, or I'm God. Why just do it? Why? You got to be the dumbest a-hole I've ever met. God's like, who is this a-hole? Did I appoint him? Was I drunk? I don't remember this. Anyway, and they went out at noon, but Ben-Hadad was drinking himself drunk in the pavilions, he and the kings, the 32 kings that helped him. And the young men of the princes of the provinces went out first, and Ben-Hadad sent out. They told him, saying, there are men come out of Samaria. And he said, whether they be come out for peace, take them alive, or whether they be come out for war, take them alive. So just say take them alive. That doesn't. So if both possibilities is the same thing, just say the one thing. So these young men of the princes and the provinces came out of the city, and the army which followed them. And they slew everyone his man, and the Syrians fled, and Israel pursued them, and Ben-Hadad the king of Syria escaped on an horse with the horsemen. And the king of Israel went out and smote the horses with his lapel spray thing. He's like, I got you guys. And the prophet came, and he's like, you know what, I'm not going to kill you. Put her there. I got you too. They did that sort of thing. You have God on your side. Just go walk out, throw a rock at the army, and then God has to be like, oh, we'll make that a super rock, and it'll burn everybody, explode or something, why is he quite... Just goes to show that they don't actually believe it, it's God. If God told me to do anything and I knew it was him somehow, just pretend, mystically I somehow knew 100% that it was God. Whatever he said, I'd do it. And I wouldn't even question it. It'd be like, oh, you have everything figured out. There's no question. You know everything. You made everything. You just know, whatever you're having me do, it's the best thing. So I'll do that. I love this thing where he's like, well, what do I do? Just go, just say hiya, and then they all will die. That's how it goes. Anyway. Go strengthen thyself. And so the king got away, the Ben-Hadad guy. Go strengthen thyself, and mark, see what thou doest, for at the return of the year the king of Syria will come up against thee. And the servants of the king of Syria said unto him, their gods are gods of the hills, therefore they were stronger than we. But let us fight against them in the plain. Oh, I should mute it, because that was a computer sound that came up earlier. Sorry. I unmuted it to have that fake British guy read you the Bible. So then the people who lost were like, well, that's just because their god is a god of the mountains. If we go to the plains, they won't be able to fight. So that's what they think. So they're going to do that. To do this thing, take the kings away, every man out of his place, and put captains in their rooms. And number thee an army, like the army that thou hast lost, horse for horse, and chariot for chariot, and we will fight them against them in the plain, and surely we will be stronger than they. And he hearkened unto their voice, and did so. And it came to pass at the return of the year that Ben-Hadad numbered the Syrians, and went up to Aphek to fight against Israel. And the children of Israel were numbered, and were all present, and went against them. The children of Israel pitched before them like two little flocks of kids, but the Syrians filled the country. And there came a man of God, and spake unto the king of Israel, and said, thus saith the Lord, because the Syrians have said, the Lord is God of the hills, but he is not God of the valleys. Therefore will I deliver all this great multitude into thine hand, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. And he's like, all right, I got my little spray thing ready, and I got double buzzy hands, so I can like shake a guy here, like zzz, zzz. And they pitched one over against the other 7 days. And so it was that in the 7th day the battle was joined, and the children of Israel slew the Syrians and 100,000 footmen in 1 day. But the rest fled to Aphek into the city, and there a wall fell upon 27,000 of the men that were left. And Benhadad fled and came into the city, into an inner chamber. And his servants said unto him, Behold now, we have heard that the kings of the house of Israel are merciful kings. Let us, I pray thee, put sackcloth on our loins, and ropes upon our heads, and go out to the king of Israel. Peradventure he will save thy life. So they girded sackcloth on their loins, and put ropes on their heads, and came to the king of Israel, and said, Thy servant Benhadad saith, I pray thee, let me live. And he said, Is he yet alive? He is my brother. Now the men, so I guess the king surrendered and made himself humble, and I guess they're going to let him live, I guess. Now the men did diligently observe whether anything would come from him, but did hastily catch it. And they said, Thy brother Benhadad. Then he said, Go ye, bring him. Then Benhadad came forth to him, and he caused him to come up to the chariot. And Benhadad said unto him, The cities which my father took from thy father. Freaking screaming children. Is that necessary? Scream. Ah! Ah! As loud as you can. Yeah, are you being murdered? You better be being murdered, you little shit. If you're going to yell that loud. It's the only excuse. Only excuse. If those were my kids, I go, hey, what, you're not being murdered? Then shut up. I don't need to yell that loud. Scream. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not evil. I like kids. They're just not. I like your kids, like I said. Your kids are fine. It's not anyone else's. The cities which my father took from thy father I will restore. And thou shalt make streets for thee in Damascus, as my father made in Samaria. Then said Ahab, I will send thee away with this covenant. So he made a covenant with him and sent him away. So pretty much they won the battle. What am I trying to say? The other king's like, hey, I'll give you back some cities and stuff. Like I've reconsidered, and I'm no match for your clown tactics. Your guerrilla clown tactics. He had a gorilla and a clown. That's how intense his army was. And a certain man of his sons of the prophet said unto his neighbor in the word of the Lord, Smite me, I pray thee. And the man refused. So this is just apropos of nothing, by the way. This is great. This is one part that I remember from reading this twice today. A certain man of the sons of the prophet say to his neighbor, so he just turns to the guy's like, hey, hit me. And the man's like, whoa, I'm not going to hit you. And then he said to him, Because thou hast not obeyed the voice of the Lord, behold, as soon as thou art departed from me, a lion shall slay thee. And as soon as he was departed from him, a lion found him and slew him. How awesome is this? This is the Lord, you guys. This is it. So some random guy who's a prophet, but how do I know? How do I know he's a prophet? Some random guy goes up and is like, hey, punch me. The guy's like, I'm not going to punch you. I'm a kind citizen. I'd rather not harm another man, or male or female, another person. By the way, I'm for equal rights between males and females. And I'm not going to hit you, sir. The guy's like, hey, since you disobeyed the Lord, because I am effectively the Lord, because I speak for him, just as soon as you walk out that way over there, a lion's just going to eat you. And this guy must have been like, please, no actual caring, loving, kind Lord would send a lion to eat me when I've simply refused to harm another human with no real proper reason. It's like, I'm going to walk right out that door and prove you wrong. He does, and then the lion just eats him to death. He must have been thinking like, what the? Are you serious? Like, I'm getting eaten by a lion for not punching a guy? What? I don't know what to say. Like, I guess you win, God. I did not think you could be this stupid, but alright, I lose. Whatever. I don't even know what to say. I guess I'm eaten by a lion. Holy crap. I never would have thought that would happen. Wow, so that's what happens in this book. Actually happens. Then he found another man and said, hey, you, hit me. And the man's like, all right, because this guy's an asshole. And then he's like, thanks. So he wounded him. But basically, he's just trying to look wounded. You know, it's like that classic thing in TV shows. It's usually a woman, just to emphasize like how shocking it is or whatever. A woman will be like, "You're gonna need to hit me in order to make it look like something." You know. I just saw it in Lost. Happened in Lost. You're gonna need to hit me. They're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna hit a woman." And she said, "No, you gotta do it." Like then he'll go like, "Ah," and she'll go like, "No, come on, really hit me." Yeah. And so that happened, that little scene in the Bible. And so the guy leaves, and he waited for the king, by the way, and disguised himself with ashes upon his face. He disguised himself as a guy, look, I'm a gets hit guy with ashes on my face. No, I'm not anything significant, just a guy who gets punched and puts ashes on his face. That's who I am, I'm that guy. And as the king passed by, he cried. There was just tons of people with a black eye and ashes on his face. Like that's just everybody in the city is like that. So he blended right in. And as the king passed by, he cried unto the king and said, "Thy servant went out into the midst of a battle, and behold, a man turned aside and brought a man unto me and said, Keep this man. If by any means he be missing, then shall thy life be for his life, or else thou shalt pay a talent of silver." So this seems to be some sort of weird parable thing. He's coming up to the king. I think he's trying to catch him. You know, like he's saying, "Hey, this happened to me. And as thy servant was busy here and there, he was gone. And the king of Israel said unto him, So shall thy judgment be. Thyself hast decided it." And he hasted and took the ashes away from his face. And the king of Israel discerned him that he was of the prophets. And he said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, because thou hast let go out of thy hand a man whom I appointed to utter destruction, therefore thy life shall go for his life, and thy people for his people. And the king of Israel went to his house heavy and displeased, and came to Samaria. So I love this. By the way, guys in the chat, is anyone there? I got some viewers. I appreciate that you're being quiet and not interrupting, but if you want to say hi, now's your chance, because I'm going to just say a few things here. Yeah, so he did the great, like, the Bible invented this, like, what's the word? Not one-upsmanship, but, this, like, gotcha. Like, gotcha, sir. Like the courtroom, like Matlock or something, or, would that man be you? That kind of thing. So the prophet disguises himself as a guy with ashes on his face. Great disguise. And he goes up to the guy, to Ahol, who let the guy go. So he did something compassionate, which God would never allow. You know that. And Ahol did something nice for another human, and let him go, and said, "Okay, you're going to give me back my cities and all that, and then you can go. You can go free." And so this prophet guy comes up, and he goes like, so he tells this pointless, parallel story. He says like, "So I was in the battle the other day, and this guy asked me to watch somebody, and he said, like, if you let him go, like, if you let him out of your sight, then I'm going to kill you, and you have to pay gold and stuff." And so anyway, so I was distracted, and he got away. And so, and then he just reveals himself and says, "You let this guy out of your sight." Like, what was the point of the first part? Aren't you supposed to get him to say, like, "So what do you think should happen to me?" And then then Ahol would say, "Well, you should be killed." And then the guy said, "Would that person be you?" And he reveals, I'm like, "That was me. I did that." But he skipped all that. He just got to the end of the story and said, "Anyway, I shall pay a talent of silver." Anyway, you let the guy go. Like, he just skipped right into that part, which is so stupid. Like, that doesn't prove. What was the point? Can't he just come up to Ahol as a prophet, say like, "Hey, you might know me. I'm a prophet. You let Bel-Harad, or whatever the heck his name was, you let that guy go, so the Lord's not happy." And then he'd be like, "Shit, that's it. Is he trying to get clever? But he doesn't really know how to do it. Like, he's like, "Oh, I saw a prophet do this one time. It was great," but he like doesn't remember quite how to. Isn't that weird? Like, anyway, I probably just have the wrong translation. That's the issue. So we're going to our last chapter, chapter 21. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab king of Samaria. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house, and I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it, or if seem good to thee, I will give you the worth of it in money. Alright, that's not the most unfair thing I've ever heard. I mean, he's the king. Basically, he's eminent domaining this guy's vineyard, but he says, like, hey, your vineyard's right next to my house, man. It's like, it's so convenient. I'll give you, like, an equal vineyard or just pay you if I can just have this one. This isn't the most unreasonable thing I've heard, I'll be honest. I forgot this little detail in the beginning of this, so I thought later on that Ahab was being an a-hole. But honestly, it sounds like a-hole is just kind of dumb, but he's kind of nice. He's really not that bad of a guy. But that ruins my mnemonic, so he's an a-hole. Just how it has to be. And Naboth said to Ahab, The Lord forbid it me, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting tactic. Okay, so that's why this guy refuses. He said, like, the Lord told me not to give you anything. It's like, and Ahab came into his house. And Ahab just leaves, to his credit. He's just like, mopes. He's like, does that. And displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him, for he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed, and turned away his face, and would eat no bread. But Jezebel his wife came to him, and said unto him, Why is thy spirit so sad, that thou eatest no bread? She's like, I made you all this freaking bread all day. All day I make this bread. And you don't know. She probably doesn't make bread. And he said unto her, Because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said to him, Give me thy vineyard for money, or else if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. And Jezebel his wife said unto him, Dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel? Rhetorical, insulting question. Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name. So she's just the pants of the relationship. This guy, this a-hole guy, is just a nice guy. He's like, guy won't give me his garden. He just kind of mopes. He's like, freaking guy won't give me his garden. I'm kind of sad about it, which is a perfectly decent response. You know, he's not gonna kill the guy or whatever. He's just like kind of upset that guy. God is screwing over this guy for no reason. Anyway, so Jezebel, who's a total Jezebel by the way, wrote letters in Ahab's name, sealed them with his a-hole seal. I don't want to know what that seal is like, but used his a-hole seal, and sent the letters unto the elders to the nobles that were in his city, dwelling with Naboth. And she wrote in the letters, saying, Proclaim a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people. Naboth is the guy she's trying to kill. And set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him, to bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst blaspheme God and the king. And then carry him out, and stone him, that he may die. And the men of the city, even the elders and the nobles, who were the inhabitants of the city, did as Jezebel had sent unto them. Because I guess that's not uncommon to... Hey, we got to stone a guy to death for no reason. All right, whatever, let's do it. And they did it. They proclaimed a feast and set Naboth on high among the people, and there came 2 men, children of Belial, and sat before him. So it's a setup. She's just like, hey, set this guy up and then kill him. And Naboth did blaspheme. You know, they said Naboth did blaspheme the God and the king, and they carried him forth out of the city and stoned him with stones that he died. And they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and dead. And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money. For Naboth is not alive, but dead, being the opposite of alive. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite and take possession of it. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah Tishbite, saying, Arise, go down to meet Ahab king of Israel, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he is gone down to possess it. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, In the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth shall dogs lick thy blood, even thine. And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord. So, is the Lord just a really dumb judge of people? Like, the Lord doesn't understand that Jezebel's behind everything? Like, isn't that sort of... I think it's a sort of simple view on life that people back then would have had. That if your wife does all this stuff in your name, the Lord's going to be mad at you for it. Like, I'm pretty sure God would just be like, oh no, A-hole's totally cool. He's a cool guy. He's a cool dude. It's his wife. I got to punish her. No. I mean, I guess you could blame Ahab to a certain extent for not being stronger and taking control of the situation, but like, he didn't kill anyone, and his wife kills people, and he's like, well, I guess I'll go use the garden because nobody's using it now, or vineyard or whatever. Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and I will take away thy posterity, and I will cut it off from Ahab, him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel. So, Elijah is telling Ahab, like, I finally found you. It's because you were a douche and did this, which he didn't, his wife did. And he's going to kill all the men in his family, which is normally what God does. And will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahijah, for the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger, and made Israel to sin. And of Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying, the dog shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. Alright, so he is finally blaming Jezebel for it. Or at least kind of blaming her. Him that dieth of Ahab in the city, dog shall eat. And him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. Which would leave you an interesting choice. You're like, well, would I rather dogs eat me or birds? I kind of think dogs. I like dogs better than birds. Birds are kind of shits. I'm not interested in feeding birds. But a dog, whatever. Dogs are nice. They can eat me, whatever. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up. And he did very abominably, in following idols according to all things, as did the Amorites, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard those words, that he rent his clothes, and put a sackcloth on his flesh, and fasted, and lay in sackcloth, and went softly. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, seest thou how Ahab humbleth himself before me? Because he humbleth himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his days. But in his son's days will I bring evil upon his house. Sorry, I got this cough halfway through. So Ahab, is humble, and the Lord's like, you know what? All right, Ahab, I'll wait till you're dead, then I'll kill all your sons. Ahab's like, thank you, I appreciate that kindness. So yeah, that's the end of our reading. Yeah, Ahab is really not a bad guy. Like, I'm surprised. It's kind of nice. And his wife was a real biatch, but he seems fine. He seems kind of nice, and the Lord punished him for it, of course. All right, so as usual, once again, please give reviews on iTunes for this podcast. I've seen a couple people the last week or so, and thank you very much for doing that. Love it. Also, Reno, if you're listening, I got to thank you again for that badass iTunes review. Reno was the first to review the new podcast, and he wrote a very nice review, which is awesome. And so thank you, and please check out 2 for Flinching, www.2forflinching.com. It actually is www.24flinching.com. Or go on the facebook.com/24flinching, numbers 24flinching. Or just search it on iTunes, which is just 2 for Flinching. And it's a new project I'm excited about. It's really funny. We have a ton of good ideas for the show tomorrow. I think, anyway. And or if not, just continue listening, and thank you as usual for tuning in. So I will see you guys next week. Adios.